Hello and welcome to a bonus episode of The Struggle, a weekly news talk show powered by the shattered hopes and dreams of home ownership. I'm your host, Amber Schultz, and tonight's light-hearted topics include the housing crisis, wage theft, and converting gays. Melbourne house prices are expected to continue rising into 2020 and beyond because apparently an arm, leg and promised soul of a newborn still isn't enough to secure a home. The median house rental price is now $430 per week in Melbourne. And who's to say millennials can't afford that? Oh, right. The avocados. Just cram a couple of bunk beds in there, sleep two to a cot, and the rent magically comes down to... what? Still $350 a week. How does that work? Hilarious as that mental image may be, it's really not far from the truth. A quick look at Flatmates tells us it's $170 per week to live in a room with 3 people, $175 to live in an apartment where 6 people share one bathroom, or $180 to share this crawl space with a bunk buddy. Tertiary students now represent nearly 10% of all homeless Australians. Reportedly, some university students at Charles Sturt University in Port Macquarie have resorted to sleeping in the library. Because what says diligent student more than passing out on a pile of books? Ironically, 1 month before the students were caught, the university was promoting a Welsh residential library where book lovers could spend the night. When asked for comment on their hypocrisy, the university's librarians had this to say. The housing crisis is so bad, Tasmanian Housing Minister Roger Jensch has planned to pay landlords between $10,000 and $13,000 to make their properties available to low-income tenants on long-term leases, as opposed to Airbnb-ing their properties out. That's right, the government has to encourage homeowners to rent their properties out to one reliable, deposit-guaranteed tenant, as opposed to a continuous string of strangers and holidaymakers. Who would have thought you could put a price on vacationers not jizzing on your duvet? It would probably happen anyway, but at least with only one tenant, you aren't inadvertently crossbreeding semen. Domain reported homes in Hobart cost just $10 less to rent than in Melbourne, meaning flocking to the land of two-headed hillbillies could only save you the cost of a couple of coffees. However, it's not just Airbnb driving up the cost of housing. The International Monetary Fund report global investors and a flood of foreign money is driving up the price of real estate. Angry Pumpkin Pauline Hanson has said there are close to 500,000 international students purchasing property in Australia. We now go to our international student correspondent to find out if there really is an influx of foreign investors on the housing market.
There's a problem. I own 3 houses.
Thanks, international student correspondent. Now, luckily, low-income earners can rely on their places of employment for fair and proper payment. According to a study conducted last year by union United Voice, 76% of hospitality businesses underpay their staff. The same report found the average casual hospitality worker in Melbourne is paid shit all per hour. Reportedly, employers pay competitive rates, wherein hospitality venues compete to see just how little they can pay their staff. Go home hungry restaurant Vue de Mont, which serves a pretentious tasting menu for just under $300 per person, has allegedly underpaid some of its staff more than $10,000 a year. Some bartenders at the Thank You Come Again Bartenders Group allege last year they were paid less than the cost of the cocktails they serve, while hipster coffee chain failed to pay some workers minimum wage. I swear, no one has it worse than us underpaid youth working part-time as waitstaff. Employer excuses include, we're a family, we can't afford to pay you more, and we don't give a fuck about you but have run out of thinly veiled excuses. Speaking of running away from responsibilities, multiple athletes are missing from the Commonwealth Games. Much like bogans on schoolies, the Commonwealth Games have come and gone on the Gold Coast, leaving a lasting impact on Australia's future. The Games have done their part to raise Australia's population after 13 competitors from the African nations of Cameroon, Uganda, Rwanda and Sierra Leone have been reported missing. The athletes are thought to have fled deliberately in an attempt to seek refuge in Australia. We now go to our brazen sports reporter who is on the case looking for the missing athletes.
Similar disappearances occurred during the 2006 Melbourne Games and the 2007.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Come on, Rwanda, you can't let your team down like that. This isn't some university group assignment. This is the Commonwealth Games. Perhaps your nation's only opportunity to receive international other genocide. We had a graphic for that one, but the legal correspondent made us take it down. In other news, some politicians have been looking into conversion therapy, which involves bending gay children straight. Conversion therapy often consists of camps wherein horny, bi and homosexual teens are asked to sleep, swim and enjoy each other's company without fucking one another. Obviously, these camps are resoundingly successful. On a positive note, teen pregnancy rates at these camps are the lowest in Australia. Andrews has in the past compared same-sex couples to his cycling buddies.
I have an affectionate relationship with my cycling mates who we go cycling on the weekends, but that's not marriage.
Now, Mojo TV have done some investigating and have managed to find footage of Andrew's cycling buddies and why he is so affectionate towards them. Parents, there's really no need to send your kids to expensive conversion camps. Dr. Joseph Nicolosi, who has a PhD in bigotry, has written a book on converting your kiddies. The book aims to treat homosexual men who don't act gay. Excerpts from this book include, it is legitimate to place higher worth on heterosexuality. By no longer categorising homosexuality as a problem, the mental health profession has cast doubt on the validity of the group's struggle. And treatment results in desired commitment to celibacy, while others have been able to progress towards the goal of heterosexual marriage. We think the author made a typo here. I think rather what they mean is treated men are able to commit to celibacy while in a heterosexual marriage. And when is commitment to celibacy ever not worked out? Speaking of homosexuality, Rugby Australia took a bold step away from equality this week, announcing it would issue absolutely no penalty to Israel Folau for his comments that gay people would spend eternity in hell unless they repent for their sins and turn to God. Reportedly, gay people were largely okay with that, as it meant they wouldn't have to spend eternity with homophobic bigots like Israel Folau. Rugby Australia deemed having to play for the Wallabies team was punishment enough. That's our show. Thank you so much for watching. Join us next week for information on drugs and where to find them. I'm Amber Schultz, and goodbye from everyone here at The Struggle. It's real.